The heck? Can you guys hear me?
Juliet, yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's not that difficult. All right, thank you.
Okay. I would like to call the August 26, 2020 regular meeting of the Fenton Community High School District 100 regular board meeting to order. Mary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Jelwick?
Here.
Peyton Howell?
Here.
Figueroa?
Leo, you got to unmute.
Here, sorry.
Rego?
I was sleeping.
Rego?
Here.
Ramirez?
Here.
Ting Po Pong? Ting Po Pong?
He was here, but I'm not sure.
I can see him.
Kit, you're in mute. Kit's here. We can't hear you. He is present, Mary.
Thank you. Wiedemann?
Here. Okay. All right, we have a quorum. Could everyone please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
To the flag
of the United States
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for
and
all.
justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And James, could you please read our Fenton mission, belief, and Bison Way statements?
Mission statement: cultivate successful, passionate learners through rigor, relevance, and relationships. Our belief statements: successful, passionate learners thrive when we champion innovative teaching and engaged learning, school and home collaborative effectively, we provide a safe, secure, caring environment, we infuse social emotional learning into academics and culture, diversity empowers our learning community, we prepare students to fulfill their civic responsibilities. Our Bison Way: students and adults at Fenton High School create a safe, caring, empathetic environment where we believe in each other, respect diversity, communicate openly, grow together, and hold each other to high expectations to become the leaders and innovators of the future.
Okay, thank you, James. Now we move on to student recognitions. James, please.
Sure, we have three groups to recognize, one being our chess team, next is FCCLA, and our AP students who scored a 5 or more. Jim, could you take it away with the videos?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Downen, and I'm one of the chess coaches at Fenton High School along with Shelly Bible. Anyway, great. First of all, we'd like to thank the board for recognizing us tonight. We had a very exciting chess season, and we were very proud of our program in general. This is actually our 13th year qualifying for the state chess tournament in a row. We had a very competitive team this year, led by a solid group of seniors. And we actually qualified for the state tournament this year in a very tough sectional that had the 4 top teams in the whole state in terms of finishing at the state tournament. If you are not familiar with the format of the state chess tournament is not divided by class. So we compete with schools of all sizes across the state. After 7 rounds, we do get ranked, and we were ranked 13th amongst teams in our 3A division. So with 3 wins at the state chess tournament, we were very happy with our performance this year. Now I'm going to recognize some of our individual players. Not all of them were able to join us here tonight. I'm still going to recognize them. and we are happy to see the ones that are here with us on Zoom. First, I'd like to recognize our excellent manager, Senior Nathan Fonseca. Next is our alternate, sophomore Naomi Zine. One of our players is sophomore Joaquin Olivares. We also had junior Mark Barrios. Senior Anthony Kaminski. This was actually Anthony's first year competing at the state tournament, and he did not lose any of the matches that he played. He finished with 4.5 points, which was an excellent finish. Senior Zane Khan. Freshman Brenna Ralston. Freshman Emilio Sanchez. Senior David Mandala. Senior Jason Gassior. Jason actually finished with 5.5 points and earned a bronze medal from the Illinois Chess Coaches Association for his finish at state. Senior Roman Gomez. Senior Julian Klimchik. This was Julian's 4th year competing at the state tournament.
Wow.
Very few seniors do that in their high school career. Senior John Gadomski. And finally, senior and a 4-star general for the team, Jimmy Palumbo. This was also Jimmy's 4th year competing in the state tournament, and he, along with all of our wonderful seniors this year, did a great job of leading our team. Thank you again for taking the time to recognize our team. Have a good night.
Hi, my name is Ariana Fontanes, and I've been a part of FCCLA for 2 years now, and I'm so grateful that I decided to join my junior year because it has been one of the best experiences of my life. I have met so many amazing people, and I have learned so many amazing things, and I've become so confident in who I am as a person in this world and what I want to be as an adult, and really like what I want to do in this world and what mark I want to leave in it. And I owe all of that to FCCLA and my advisor, Ms. Fontillas. Because of her, I am a state champion, and because of her, she has many state champions. And because of that, I've had one of the best experiences of my life, and I will forever be grateful to her and to FCCLA for that. And my advice to anyone who is thinking about joining would just be to give it a shot, because you have nothing to lose if you join, and you will not regret joining it.
So 2 great videos there. This last one is just to acknowledge our students who received a 5 on their AP exam. We had a total of 18 students receive a perfect score. One of the students, I know, 4 AP exam with all 5s. So just want to acknowledge all our students that hit that 5. Yvonne, myself, and Rick visited their homes and gave them a yard sign, plus most famously, the Reese's Take 5 candy bar. So that was a good, everyone wins on that one. So
You started to say one of them had.
one of them took 4 AP exam and scored 5s on all 4.
Wow.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Wow, that's good to see.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. Very good presentations. Glad to see it. Now we move on to public comments. Mary, please share the Board of Education rules of procedure regarding public comments.
Yes, each public comment is limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes on the topic. Names of the board members, staff, or students will not be mentioned in any of the statements. No action or discussion will be taken in response to any of the public comments this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mary. James, could you please read the comments submitted?
Absolutely. I have received 9 total comments, and we will try to get through them. The first one it reads, "My name is Malian Ting Palpong, a recent Fenton graduate from the class of 2020. I've been an active student and member of the Fenton community for 4 years. As an alum, voter, and member of the community, I feel it is my responsibility to speak about experiences here at Fenton and what I have been seen of its board and administration. It is our responsibility as constituents to hold the board accountable. I am extremely disgusted by the rhetoric expressed during the board meeting on July 29th. I am disappointed in the board members who stood complacently as ignorance was asserted at the meeting. I am disappointed in the board members who weren't there in the first place to refute those hateful and ignorant beliefs. As you all were discussing the diversity and equity resolution, I was stunned by what was stated and the underlying viewpoints of some board members. I was stunned by the audacity and by the apathy. Raising other items discussed divide us simply because you are uncomfortable acknowledging the inherent disadvantages of people of color, LGBTQ plus individuals, immigrants, women, and so many communities that have legitimate reasons to feel ousted because they have been systematically oppressed since the founding of the country. I am urging the board to get uncomfortable. You must acknowledge different minority groups. You must recognize that this is your privilege to even argue about the inclusion of these groups. Inclusion should not even be up for debate. I hope more and more people of color run for the position on the board so that the community is accurately represented, as we have 71% minority school district. I hope for the board members here today, this serves as a wake-up call to be more effective with the little time you do have and to check your privilege when it comes to certain topics. I'd hope that the purpose of this resolution isn't just to follow what other school districts are doing. I'd hope that the resolution reaffirming Fenton's diversity and equity policies are tangible enough to be demonstrated in the school. I'd hope this resolution actually protects students from being targeted based on their race, sexual orientation, or gender identity, as I know so many of my classmates have expressed to me. I hope there never has to be another student who tells me stories like these. I hope this isn't where the discussion about diversity and equity ends. We must never stop discussing difficult topics because our privilege allows it. because in the end, the resolution is just words, clearly words none of you can even agree on. Words that are inconsequential if not put into action. So please act accordingly. The second public statement is from Patrick Escobedo, President Wiedemann, and member of the board. I'll be frank. I come to you tonight on behalf of the Fenton Education Association, seriously concerned the discussion of equity and inclusion at last month's board meeting. The FEA is deeply committed to equity as the bedrock principle of our practice. It shapes our relationship with our students, informs our professional development as educators, and constitutes one of our core values as an association. So I am sure you will understand our dismay surrounding the stated purpose for and discussion of the Board of Education's equity resolution last month. We call on the board to genuinely consider the deeper morality at the heart of the equity resolution, and we call on the board to take seriously the experiences of those included in such a list. Equity is not a checkbox. It is not something to pursue and develop merely to be in the step with other school districts, nor is it based to cover given recent social upheaval. Equity is something far deeper. It is an essential part of the quest for justice in America. Equity is our collective acknowledgement that in spite of our most notable principles, the history of our country is one in which people have suffered discrimination and violence because of the color of their skin, their religion, their race, their sexual preference, their gender identity, their ancestry, heritage or nationality, their age, their social economic status, or their physical or mental disabilities. Through both individual acts and larger social structures, the historical injustices faced by these groups can only be overcome by taking action, by taking a stand and saying to a member of these groups in an uncertain terms that we see you, we stand by you. That is the first step towards justice. And as Professor Cornell West points out, justice is what love looks like in public. You are the steward of the education of thousands of students. How many of them have felt the sting of racism for the color of their skin? How many have felt their derision of their peers because of their faith? The exclusion of their society or family because of who they love and how they identify. A resolution for equity and inclusion is the first step in acknowledging the pain and healing those scars. It must be taken up with a strong sense of love and justice. It must be taken up because it is the morally right thing to do. As disappointing as we were in the superficial purpose offered up for the equity resolution, it was far more disturbing to hear many of the arguments offered against such a resolution being an inclusion one. We all wish we live in a perfect world, one in which people were judged, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. aspired to. The unfortunate reality faced by Dr. King when he delivered his speech was that people were far too often judged precisely the opposite way. And while progress has been made, the sad truth is that for far too many groups and people today, that reality still persists. In choosing whom to include under the rubric of your equity resolution, I urge the board to look at the inclusion of groups, people on the list, not as a tedious encumbrance, but as an essential act of love, to acknowledge someone's suffering, to acknowledge the injustice faced by groups of our fellow citizenship, is to validate their humanity. Far from being an act that focuses on what divides us, including these groups in your equity resolution is a powerful act that unites us. It unites us in the collective resolve to make Fenton a place where every student is acknowledged for who they are. We all want to be embraced and loved and accepted for who we are as individuals, not in a general way, but for those things that are essential and unique to our identity. In closing, we urge the Board of Education, in a spirit of love and justice, as they adopt a comprehensive equity resolution, one which encompasses multiple statutes for which people have been discriminated against, and to say to our students, we educate you for you, we defend you for you, and we love you for you. Thank you for your time, Patrick Escobedo, President of Fenton Education Association. A third comment is from Kelly Mullins. President Wiedemann and member of the board, I am disappointed after listening to your discussion surrounding an equity statement during June and July board meeting. At every opportunity, we need to declare our commitment to equity. In this instance, your lack of statement is the statement you are sending. Teachers and staff members have been working this mission for years, and for you to stumble upon something like this is troubling. Fourth statement is from Thalia Aguino. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a 2013 Fenton High School graduate. My public comments are addressed to the board today with concerns, questions, and insights as a result of listening to the dialogue that was in response to diversity, equity, inclusion statement drafts during last month's board meeting. This statement has been condensed due to a time constraint. If anyone would like the full statement, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I like to start by saying, as an educator who does work centered around DEI for a living, I am concerned with the potential lack of knowledge from the board members regarding definitions of identity terms being listed in the statement's drafts. With this being said, I have a few questions. Bullet point 1, what if any DEI training is provided for you all on a yearly or semesterly basis? Bullet point 2, are you all aware of the big 8 social constructs of identity and its fundamental makeup of individuals? Bullet 3, what is the level of emotional intelligence against the board around topics of DEI? One concern shared by members of these board was the fear that the list would be too long. If we were all acknowledgeable on the big 8 identities, we know what they are umbrella terms to other identities shared in the last month's statement drafts. No action is an action. By not listing out the acknowledged and acknowledging these fundamental identities, you are unintentionally saying that they don't matter. A board member quoted Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech to prove a point around not needing to list out identities such as race in fear that it will cause more exclusion than inclusion. They said the speech focused on the character of the individual and not the color of our skin. What they failed to do when quoting Dr. King is the following. They failed to share what Dr. King's speech and actual focused on. If you look the time to read this speech in its entirety, you'd know that Dr. King's speech was focused on the racism and segregation of Black individuals in our country and how they are judged by the color of their skin as it happens in current day. Dr. King spoke of a dream because for many, life was and is a nightmare. It is multiple microaggressions, racial traumas, racial fatigue, the list goes on a daily basis. We cannot erase Black and brown identities. According to the U.S. News report published on April 13, 2020, it was shared that Fenton High School students' body is 72.2% student of color. You are on the board to serve these students and their families. If you have difficulty acknowledging that the 72.2 specifically and other groups should be acknowledged in your statement, then you have no place to sit on a school board that represents a predominantly Black and brown community. We know that it is the Bison way to treat everyone equally and with respect, regardless of identity. However, this is not the reality for everyone within this school district nor nation, and that is the honest truth. Thank you. Fifth comment. This is from Omar Marin regarding the equity and resolution. At the board meeting in July, made a comment on this resolution where the individual insisted on focusing the resolution on something that represents unity, as apparently address race would create division. This is coming from a 2020 graduate of Fenton, so I believe no one understands the social environment more than one that had to experience it for the last 4 years. I am Latino with a dark brown complexion and a coarse afro. I am far from being a white man. In my 4 years, Fenton was riddled with racist white peers who would constantly do things like crack immigration jokes, exclude ESL students, and throw around the N-word. I have even been profiled by school hall monitors. I would not go a week at school where I was not followed into the bathroom with the assumption that I would smoke, which, by the way, I never have in my life. I do not benefit from the white privilege in any way and know many students that were in the same situation as me at school. We were not always welcome despite 64% of the student body being Latin American, 2019. The prevalence of white peers from affluent white neighborhoods in Wooddale will ensure that the hostile environment will continue to exist in the administration if the administration does not voice an explicit anti-racist resolution. This resolution cannot be passive. It must mention a variation of word anti-racism and voice its support for the Black community. Saying something like all other marginalized communities in addition as well would work, but the Black community must specifically be mentioned and supported. White students are not the ones that are targeted when cops go out on the streets to fill their arrest quotas. It's Black and brown people. This is not about white students, and every non-bigot knows that. If this were to be included in the resolution, this would be a step forward from the environment many like me dreaded and felt powerless against. It would also serve the cause if you stopped the hall monitor from enacting racist bathroom inspection policies. Contact me if you really care to learn more. I will not make the statement too long. After all, it is URM students like me who pass AP tests so that the administration could pad their resume with their awards to get visits from the governor. My contribution do not increase my worth in case my previous sentence is misinterpreted by some. Thank you, Omar Marin. Number 6, this is from Marshall Subak. The title is Remote Hybrid Learning. Dear Fenton Board of Education members, my name is Marshall Subak. I reside in Wooddale. My daughter, Sarah Subak, is a junior at Fenton. I have 2 daughters that graduated from Fenton. I am writing you to express my concern about the remote learning plan and the hybrid learning plan adopted by Fenton. I participated in the 2 town hall meetings regarding the plan. I have emailed administration, had a number of conferences with the principal and curriculum director. I have followed the board's directed chain of command in raising my concerns. Please note the curriculum director, principal, and the superintendent have all been very professional and have tried to answer my multiple questions and ease my concerns. I have sent many emails, countless questions during the town hall meeting, inquiring questions as to why these plans were adopted in an attempt to get answers. To their credit, their administration always taken my calls and encouraged me to have other parents provide feedback. I have no doubt there are all good people trying to do what is best for the students and staff. As to the remote learning plan and the hybrid plan, I respectfully disagree with the administration and the plans to be adopted by this board. The purpose of my letter tonight is not to question any of the administration staff or teachers' motivation in the adoption of the remote and hybrid plan. I know all parties have best interests of the students and staff in mind when formulating the plan. I have confidence in the teachers at Fenton. I am also not questioning having the students in class in person versus remote for the time being. It is understandable that the health and the safety of the students and the staff have to be balanced with student learning. I also understand that the difficult position you are in as a school board and appreciate the time and the effort that you each put in being on board. I personally know how much work that is. There are difficult times, and I understand that there are not easy issues, that no plan is perfect. I am not only advocating for my daughter, Sarah, but for all the students at Fenton. I know we are only 2 weeks into the remote learning. I agree with administration, given it is a chance, but I feel if I did not say something now, the next board meeting is not until the end of September, and that just seemed too long to sit silent and watch. Again, my daughter is a junior. She's enrolled in Spanish 3, AP English 3, AP US History, Physics, AP Calculus BC, and AP Biology. In a normal year, my daughter would see each of her students, each of her teachers each day for a 45-minute period, 5 days a week, with the remote learning plan and the hybrid plan, the students are not seeing each of their students 5 days a week. On Monday, my daughter has bison time from 11 a.m. to noon. No other time is mandatory for school on Mondays. On Tuesday and Wednesday, she starts remotely learning at 1 p.m. and is done by 3 p.m. It is only 2 hours. One of the hours is live remote instruction, Google Meet, and the other 1 hour is support, which which learns its options to help it's needed for certain breakout group. In other words, for 2 days a week, the live instruction time with teachers may only be 1 hour. On Thursday and Friday, my daughter has remote class from 10 a.m. to noon and then 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. This is only 4 hours. Again, one of the class is live remote and other is remote, so that the live instruction time may only be for 2 hours on those days. To summarize, for each class, my daughter has one hour per week of live interactive time with teachers per subject. The teachers are having students do the work and learning on those days. But it is not teacher-led instruction. Simply say that this is not enough. That is not enough instruction for a high school student in 5 AP classes or students with no AP classes. My time is up for that one. It's beyond 3 minutes. Next statement here is from Amal Ganima. Good evening. Several Fenton alumni students have put together a statement regarding Fenton's board resolution for equity diversity that was discussed on July 29, 2020. One of the basic functions of the school is to be a safe environment for all of its students. Considering the students of District 100 are largely composed of minorities, undocumented students, the members of the LGBTQIA+ community, and several other demographics that are historically systematically oppressed, if Fenton School Board cannot do the bare minimum of a written statement that is reaffirming values already in place to support these students, that is a great failure to the community it serves. We believe it important that this resolution is not just an attempt at an empty formality. Regarding comments addressed the issue of inclusive being excluding, the things listed in the resolution are attributes that apply to every person. For example, every person has a race, color, sexual preference, immigration status, etc. It is impossible to exclude anyone through naming attributes everybody has. If a board member claims that this resolution excludes certain students, they are speaking against the groups of people oppressed within each attribute listed, exhibiting their disdain for their progression of inclusivity within the bison community. It is already known that every life that walks through Fenton's doors matter. But if you are using the fact that all lives matter as a contention to the needed extra attention of people of color and other marginalized groups right now, it is hateful and cruel in the context. If this resolution does not name these groups and does not substantially address issues that take place in our community every day, that leads members of our community and the students to believe that these policies are not present in Fenton's values in the first place. The school board and every member of the school board needs to take accountability and be advocates for Fenton's students, not adversaries. Thank you. Public comment number 8 is from Noah Zagati. As a Muslim female who wore jihad, it was extremely difficult for me to feel as though I was not an outcast at Fenton. No matter how hard I tried to fit in, I always stood out and felt different. I played varsity volleyball for 3 years with a jihad on. The comments people made or looks received were terrifying, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but I learned to deal with it and stand up for myself. But to be quite honest, I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to constantly stick up for myself because I am not white or because I am Muslim. To have people on the board sit back and not stick up for people of color during the board meeting was extremely disappointing. This is a direct message. My skin color or race, or religion cannot be compared to someone that is tall, fat, or short. I am enraged that you could compare the treatment of people of color who face social injustice on a daily basis to someone who is tall. Shame on the people who were on the call who did not disagree with her and stick up to the people who are oppressed by the system. I dealt with racism at Fenton because I was Muslim. My sophomore year, a girl tugged on my jihad, an article of clothing I chose to wear every day because I go out. There was so much power and meaning behind my reason of why I chose to wear jihad. In the moment, I felt so weak. The audacity that this girl had to lay her hands on my jihad. Super upset. I went to talk to the social worker and counselor. They told me that they would handle it, but nothing was done. The school made absolute no effort to validate me and making me feel wanted at school where I was already an outcast. Being one of the very few Muslims at Fenton, I had no one to go to or talk to because no one would understand. I had to suppress my emotion and to make myself believe that it was okay to be treated. It was not that it was okay to be treated this way. Alongside whether the topic of 911 would come up in class, I would have a lot of anxiety because of the jokes my peers would make. Kids in the hallways were always yelling out Allah Kubar as a joke, acting as though a bomb was going to go off. The situation made me extremely uncomfortable. What I have stated is probably not even 5% of the racism I dealt with Fenton. To be quite honest, I could go on forever because this has become the norm for us. People of color have been taught to suppress their emotions for the sake of making white people feel comfortable. People of color at Fenton deserve better. It is the job of the staff to stop students when they hear them making comments. It is the job of the staff to educate rather than ignore. And I hope can apologize for the statement she made. Number one, if you're going to refer to MLK, make sure you are educated on the message MLK was trying to put out, and make sure you know what he even is, because help me out, guys, it's gonna pass when you're trying to make a statement about someone you didn't even remember the name of. Public comment number 9. This one is from Lisa Patterson. 2 hours and 8 minutes into the last board meeting, I was dumbfounded when one of the members asked what the purpose was for Fenton writing a resolution on diversity and inclusion. It seems she had trouble understanding why it was important that people and groups that have been historically marginalized be specifically named here in the proposed resolution. I say to board members and others that think like her this: you don't ask why a married couple sometimes choose to reaffirm their marriage later in life. You celebrate their love and devotion with them. You don't ask people why they are wishing their friends and family a happy birthday. You acknowledge it's their birthday and celebrate their milestones with them. You never ask why. What is the purpose of saying our country's Pledge of Allegiance before board meetings and school functions? You do it without question because you want to reaffirm to everyone that you love and support your country. So why is the world would we not show our support of our diverse student population by including them, each and every group, to show we support them and want them to feel included and accept here at Fenton? The fact that you ask what is the purpose of this is in fact part of the problem. I hope you thought and hard and reconsider your thoughts on this. President Wigman, that's the end of public comments. You're on mute. Mr. Wiedemann, you're on mute.
Okay, thank you, James. I would like to thank everyone who submitted their comments. It is very much appreciated. Your voices are very important. Then may I have a motion and a second to go into closed session for the purpose of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. 5 ILCS 120/2, Section C1. And collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees, or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 ILCS 120/2, Section C2. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mary Ann. May I have a second?
Leo said second.
Okay, thank you, Leo. Roll call, please, Mary.
Peyton Ho,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Rego,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Ting Paul Pong,
Yes.
Wiedemann,
Yes. Okay, we are going in closed session. We will be then back in open session. Then we are slowly getting back into open session. We're on?
We are
Okay,
on.
now we're back in open session. The next item is the district reports. James, if you could take that, please.
Absolutely. We'll go through this. We receive a custodial service FOIA. We received that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We responded to the FOIA by reporting that we do not bid out our custodial services. We have our own custodians in the building. So we have resolved that FOIA. Just wanted to report that to the board. Next up was actually 2 weeks. Last couple of weeks there was a storm. I think it was 2 weeks ago. That raised a couple of questions from some board members and the administrators as well. Just wanted to state that right now. We had a severe storm approximately a week and a half ago. We did not lose power during that storm. We have backup batteries to keep our digital infrastructure intact during a power outage. We have power backup for our computer servers, student information system, which powers Power School, telephone network, and hallway lighting. We also have a small generator that can power a small area of the building, not the whole building. Regarding our power grids from ComEd, we have 2 power grids in the building. That means if one grid goes down, that part of the building has no power. The second power grid does not support the first power grid, so it doesn't equalize both grid. One power grid is out, it's out, okay? The second power grid does not power that, and vice versa. That's where we're at. We've been fortunate in regards to that. Tommy is working very hard to make sure we have backup during a power outage, but we did not get power outage at the last storm, severe storm we had a couple weeks ago. Next up is extracurricular updates. Our 4 sports teams are practicing: boys golf, girls and boys cross country, and girls tennis. We're still waiting for the Illinois Department of Public Health to approve the IHSA, the Illinois High School Association, to return to play plan. They have not approved that. When it is approved by IDPH, our students will be able to compete with other high school teams. In relation to clubs and activities, we initiated a process with our sponsors that they would submit a remote plan for their activity that would be approved by the administration. This ensures the activities would still be available for our students even during remote learning. The sponsors turned in their plans last week and were approved by the administrative team. The administration will be checking in throughout the school year, regardless of whether we are in remote or hybrid setting, to evaluate how the program is doing. The goal here is to maintain our extracurricular programming throughout the year. Therefore, students are engaged in other Fenton activities outside of academics. Let me see what else. Okay, COVID update. Just real quick, we constantly look at the IDPH dashboard, Illinois Department of Public Health dashboard. As you see here, we look at this daily. There still continues to be a warning: high rates of COVID, 71 per 100,000. IDPH would like that below 50. That's where Illinois is standing right now. I also look on a daily basis, as well as the administrative team during our administrative meetings, the DuPage County Public Health dashboard. DuPage, this is just a snapshot of DuPage, 13,965 total confirmed cases and so many deaths. As you know, Bensonville is the 5th highest in DuPage in regards to COVID cases. We believe the number is a little lower for underreporting. Wooddale is doing much better in regards to COVID cases, and we continue to watch this. As you can see with some of the lines here and some of the trends, it continues to go up instead of down. Just today we had 2,100 new cases in Illinois, and we would like that to go down. The trend this month of August tend to be in the 2000s. Just real quickly, to reiterate, like I do every board meeting, Fenton is not an isolated island. We continue to collaborate with IDPH, CDC, ISB, the governor's office, as well as the other school district, high school to school district in DuPage. They continue to influence our operations here at Fenton in regards to this, to our practices. I just wanted to share with you the latest from which I shared, I believe, half of this at the last board meeting. What I would like to point out to the board is that it continues to change. The guidance from the regulating agency continues to change, and it's like playing a game of football, and the goalpost just continues to move. When they state guidance, it makes it more difficult and safer, obviously, to comply to. But we're doing our best to comply to every guidance that's mandated by the regulating agency. Illinois State Board of Education has 6. 1 is appropriate PPE, as you know, one of them being masks. Number 2, increased cleaning and disinfecting. 3, social distancing that we practice. No more than 50 individuals gathering in one space. 5, symptom screening and temperature checks. And 6, the option for remote learning that should be hybrid learning. The option for remote learning during hybrid learning. The tool here, this is the decision tree that was given to us by the Illinois Department of Public Health, I believe about a week ago. This was very useful. Board, as you know, we had our first positive COVID case at Fenton. We followed this thoroughly. We've asked superintendents in DuPage, have asked Illinois Department of Public Health, hey, make this easier for us. Give us a chart. And this was very valuable, just in time for our case here at Fenton. Just wanted to share that with you. This is the guidelines that's provided by us, by the Illinois Department of Public Health, and that's what we're following. Just to give you an example of how guidance from ISB, IDPH, and the governor's office continue to change, you could see here, this is ISB, all the different guidance. August, there's 3 different guidance in August. In July, there was 3, and in June, there's 1. I had to cut it off there a little bit, but it's a moving target in many ways because no one has been through this, and we're all novice in regards to this. Illinois Department of Public Health, just in August, look at it, in the number of it, and that's just August. So there was one on the 20th, the 18th, and so forth. CDC, what's not here, last week they had more guidance for us to read and follow as well. So that just gives you a picture of the regulating agency and how it's passed down to public schools. All right, I will take a pause here. I know I promised you that we're going to continue to provide information in our remote learning 2.0 updates and plan. I'm going to invite Michelle Papanikolaou to talk about this. Thanks, Michelle.
Hi, members of the board. Good evening. How you all doing? Hanging in there? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take us through. So we are off and running with Remote 2.0, and we are running. We're trying our best, and our teachers are doing an outstanding job. Talk about adaptability and resilience, and those skills that are needed by our students and displayed every day by our teachers. They're getting the practice. So let me take you through some of the highlights. There are a lot of really great things happening, although it's a challenging situation. I want to highlight quite a few things here. So we had our student boot camp to kick off our school year. It went really well. It was a success. We think it provided the practice and exposure to the tech tools for both the students and the teachers in a really successful way. It allowed some universal messaging about expectations and responsibilities, so students didn't have to hear the same message repeatedly in each one of their academic classes. I think we really use our time efficiently in this model. A lot of students, across different districts and families are saying, oh yeah, day one, they just keep hearing the same thing over and over again. We went ahead and took care of all of those messagings within this boot camp. And we encouraged ways to build community and relationships in a remote setting. So we really took that time to bring kids back together, ease them back into the school setting in a nice and in a community building type of way. So we thought it was a great success. We had great feedback from teachers and students. Bison time is now 1 day a week on Mondays, and that's off to a really good start. Students in the first Bison time learned about how to use their syllabi to get off to a good start, and how to use their weekly outline from the teachers to plan accordingly for their responsibilities, both in and out of their live sessions. And then this past week, freshmen met their counselors, sophomores and juniors worked on social emotional learning and their ruler strategies, and seniors continued their exploration of post-secondary options with their college and career readiness counselor. So they did their best fit for college and career. So we think it's really an important time. We hope that our students continue to attend. We've had some really good attendance, so we've been happy with Bison time. We've really, this first week, these first 2 weeks, are focusing on relationships and community building, even in the academic classes and during our live connections and live support sessions. That's prime time with our students. We want to use it to ensure they're getting those connections with one another, with their teachers, and they're building strong relationships. Our teachers are focusing on communication really well with family and students. We are implementing 2 brand new school-wide tech tools. We had Remind in the past, but we went to a school-wide Remind setting and school-wide Calendly. So we can easily and seamlessly make appointments with our parents and seamlessly make appointment with our students. It's not like emailing back and forth and when can you come and when can you come. It's a really easy tool. It's been around for a while. It's a really great addition for our communication. And our Remind app allows us to leverage text messaging quite easily. You know, that's the way we communicate. So we think that's a great tool that teachers are starting to use. Attendance has been solid. Teachers are reporting that they have full classrooms. The students are coming. They're showing up to the Zoom meetings. They're showing up to the Google Meet meetings. We're really pleased. Our deans are knocking it out of the park with the follow-up for students who aren't attending, and we're seeing our numbers get better and better every day. I mean, they're really strong. I don't have the percentage, but it's got to be in the 90 percentiles area. I should get that for you guys, but I know it's been really strong. Beginning of in-person support systems. So Kate Ward, our ESL division leader, heard early on that some of our EL students were struggling with the tech. Their exposure to the tech isn't, they're not very well versed in it. Some of them are having connectivity issues. They quickly got on the ball and they brought in 8 to 10 students at the beginning of this week already to start getting support from some of our TAs and how to navigate some of these Google Classrooms and how to ensure that they're accessing all of their remote responsibilities and digital responsibilities. So we're hoping that we can continue to figure out ways to scale that up and get some more students those kinds of supports if they need it. The amount of tech tools that are being used in the classroom, it's so important. Zoom is an important tool, or Google Meet is an important tool, right? It allows us to see one another, but there are so many more because our students are learning outside of those live connections. They're being engaged outside of those live connections. That's not the only time they're expected to learn. We're using Padlet, Weave Video, Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, Jamboard, the list goes on and on. All of these tools that allow teachers to provide feedback through video and really work to ensure this cognitive load that goes along with this type of learning can be really intense and overbearing. So the more that we can put on video or put into simplified and visually appealing manners, it helps with that cognitive load for students So, they're not being overwhelmed by just text after text after text after text. And, that we think these new tools are really helping. Students are using the Google Classroom well. Teachers have begun inviting administrators into the classroom to observe practices they're trying, and they're celebrating some of the things that they've planned and are implementing. We've seen some great work already from our teachers, so we're really excited about their use of the tech tools. Support and enrichment begins the week after Labor Day. So there are systems in place with automated communication for families and students, so they know where students will go, when they will need to be there, how they will get online with their support teachers, and how they're going to get that additional help. And enrichment, we're looking to start by the end of September. We already have some ideas in place. We'll have some programming options out in the next few weeks. We're working on our surveys to students, parents, and families right now about remote learning 2.0. We want to give this at least 4 to 6 weeks before we start asking for that feedback. It's time for things to settle in, but we are already planning about what we need to ask. We're hearing things and we're putting them in the survey, so we know if it's a widespread concern or if they're just really individualized type of concerns. And just a couple of more items. Community circles. So on Monday mornings, we've been providing teachers with professional development and time to collaborate, but also, healthy students need healthy adults. And this pandemic is impacting people in many different ways, including our own staff members. So we're trying to take care of them. We're trying to give them outlets to work through and process what's happening to them in this time, and ensuring they have the support systems to manage the stress of the situation. So we've been doing some community circles with our staff that allow them to kind of process in some group settings what's happening and how they're dealing with it. And then finally, I think I started with this and I'll just end with it again because it's so important. Students are developing the skills of adaptability and resilience along with our adults. We're so proud of everybody. We're so proud of our students. We're so proud of our adults. We're so proud of the work that's being done. The way that they've displayed this adaptability and resilience is really inspiring, and I just hope they can keep it up. I know that it's challenging. We're just happy to see that everyone's sticking to it and trying new things and making it work. That's it.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Good job.
That's a lot. Yeah, boy, your plate's full, that's for sure.
Yeah, Michelle, that really is a lot. I mean, it's amazing how much is involved there. And I just wanted to say, that it's very encouraging to see the strong attendance. And that just shows that when we have a good foundation, a lot of good things flow from that. So, yeah, very good. Thank you.
All right, the next topic is the fall learning plan. As promised to the board, to continue to provide you information in regards to fall learning plan. When we had our fall learning plan back in July, when we presented this to you, the basis of the decision and the direction we wanted to move to was safety. Safety for our students, our parents, and our community. The directions we will continue to move forward right now and how we're going to transition here is we're going to continue remote learning 2.0 until the end of the first quarter. If you want an exact date of that, that's October 16th. Again, the decision is based on the current information and trend that we have right now from our regulating agency and what's present here in Bensenville and Wooddale. It's based on safety and wellness of students, families, and staff. Quite frankly, it's too risky to go hybrid. I know we had a target date of September 14th. It's too risky because of the numbers right now at this time. And COVID cases in Illinois is hovering around 2,000 cases per day. Today was 2,157. Everyone in the state wants it lower, but we're not getting there at this current time. It is not going in the direction where we want to go. And quite frankly, this is not the safe time to return to school. Remote Learning 2.0, it's safer and it's working, as Michelle just reported here, and we feel it as a group. Teachers are reporting that as well. School that started, also to point out that school that started in hybrid moved quickly to remote learning, whether it's COVID cases that's happening in their school or a surge of COVID there. Have you seen, as you know, when you watch news, school districts or high schools or middle schools or elementary schools, whether they're public or private, are moving to remote learning. Also, to reiterate, all DuPage high schools are in remote learning. Bensonville remains to be one of the highest COVID cases in DuPage. We continue to monitor that. That is an important aspect of our decision. Continued guidance from the regulating agencies and operations of our hybrid learning is changing. As I highlighted to you, we continue to get the guidance from IDPH, ISB, CDC, and so forth. We continue to implement them, but they are challenging. Fully remote option for students during hybrid learning is difficult, as an example. And quickly, as promised, we told you we're going to continue to survey our parents in regards to topics. One of the topics here is that we needed data. If we do go to hybrid learning, how many of our parents, how many of our students are going to choose that fully remote learning option? And we threw this out about a week ago, and here are the numbers. There's 233 responses to the survey so far. 54.9% of parents of families say yes, they're going to keep their students fully remote. I was surprised by this, to be honest with you. I was thinking 20, 30 families. That's not what we're having here. For us, we also had a version in Spanish. 29 responded. 41.4 reported that they would choose the option of fully remote as well. So in retrospect, the directions we're moving for right now is to continue with Remote Learning 2.0 until the end of the first quarter. Why the first quarter? So it's a continuation of the learning platform. We don't want it to disrupt it. It's good for our students as well as our families. The next topic we have right here is just to point out to the board here, we do a community report every year. This is the second annual report that we have put together. Our residents should receive this annual Fenton Community Report tomorrow, Friday, or over the weekend. The purpose of the report is to communicate to residents all of the wonderful things going on at Fenton and to celebrate our accomplishment this year. Residents should start receiving this once again Thursday and Friday. A huge shout out, put a lot of energy, a lot of time, is Mr. Rick Cambick for taking the lead on this important communication initiative. Some of the highlights are, our graduation rate, our 9th grade on track. Jim, are you able to flip pages? But anyway, this is the layout. There we go. That's how the front pamphlet would look like. Turn the page. Nice and blue, or bison blue. Some of the topics that we covered in the pamphlet is our facilities. As you guys remember that earlier in the year that we had a facility assessment, and we had the whole school participating in that. Another big accomplishment is 72,281 meals that was served during COVID-19, basically from March 16th until the beginning of the school year. Shout out to all the folks that helped out on that. Next page. Jim, next page. This one here is just, the topic of the pamphlet is basically Fenton by the numbers, just to show our residents what we are accomplishing academically as well as extracurricular. 93% graduation rate remains solid, 92% attendance rate, 97% 9th grade on track. That should be applauded, board, in regards to that. Means our 9th grade graders are 97% of them are in line to graduate on time. 27 AP exams and so forth. Our bond rating continues to be strong. Community service hours, even through the pandemic, was 12,784. We see that beautiful picture there of Maylene, our state champion. 59 students qualified for the state finals, and on and on. Beautiful picture there. Other slide here, other accomplishment, we continue to focus on equity. Board, as you know, early last year. We went through an equity audit with the Regional Office of Education. We should be receiving that results. There was a needs assessment on that. We've created a district equity leadership team, which is a cross-section of our staff. We're going to continue to focus on that. That is part of our strategic plan. We also collaborated with District 2 and District 7 to create the Portrait of a Graduate. Unfortunately, it's difficult to roll that out right now because of COVID. I'm working with the superintendents to see when we can give this true justice in enough time. We just don't want to say it and no one's paying attention. This has to be done right and kicked off in the right way. And finally, as you know, Governor Pritzker was here to celebrate our achievement. Is there anything else, Jim? I think so. If you want a flat view, that's how it looks like. So please keep an eye on it on the mail. We're very excited to share our accomplishment to the rest to the community of Bensonville and Wooddale. That is it for our district report. Mr. Wiedemann.
Okay. Nope. Man. All right. Thank you, James. Now we move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions regarding the consent agenda? Any items that are on there?
Mr. Wiedemann, I just want to give a shout out to Wendelco Enterprise Technology for donating 50 laptops to Fenton High School. They will be here on our campus this Friday for our thank you plaque and pictures with them. Just wanted to give a shout out to them and to celebrate their generosity. The value of the laptops and the land cards are approximately $25,000.
That's amazing. That is very generous of them. Yeah.
Yep. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Okay, thank you, James. Then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Patty. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Roll call, please. Mary?
Peyton Howell,
Yes.
Rago,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Ting Popong,
Yes.
Jalwick,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Wiedemann,
Yes. All right, that motion has passed. We move on to the Board Resolution for Equity and Diversity. Patty and Juliet were given the task to draft a resolution as directed by the board. They have two drafts to present this evening. James, could you please read draft 1 and draft 2?
Sure. Draft 1. Title is Resolution Affirming the Fenton. Am I on? Yep. The title is Resolution Affirming the Fenton Board of Education's Commitment to Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Draft 1. Fenton District 100 Board of Education is committed to maintain a safe and inclusive culture for learning where each stakeholder, our students, faculty, staff, administrators, parents, and community, are expected and valued for their uniqueness or similarities regardless of color, nationality, ethnicity, heritage, belief system, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental disability, economic and or citizenship status. We believe Fenton has a larger public purpose to matriculate, educate, and graduate students who have been historically underrepresented. A diverse school community alone is not enough. We seek to create a truly inclusive school, one where students and adults are welcome and supported, and where their faces, voices, and experiences are reflected and valued. Fenton is committed to providing every student an equal opportunity to participate and thrive in academic and co-curricular programs. Achieving educational equity is continuous progress of assessment, reflection, and improvement. Prejudice, bigotry, and stereotypes are learned and can be unlearned. Fenton District 100 gives definitions to this vision of a diverse, inclusive, and equitable community by encouraging and valuing, number 1, equitable access to schools, programs, and practices. We implement programs and practices that provide equal access and enable all students to thrive academically, athletically, socially, and emotionally. We embrace this in part through Fenton's belief statement, Bison Way, and Portrait of a Graduate. Number 2, inclusive teaching and learning. We examine and revise our curriculum and teaching practices as necessary to ensure what are effective in reaching every student through rigor, relevance, and relationship. We train our teachers to recognize and to understand the range of needs and learning styles among our students, and to hone their skills into building and sustaining an inclusive classroom. Number 3, personal expression and experience. We affirm the uniqueness of each individual and value individuals' ways of existing in the world. We are committed to understanding how personal, cultural, and historical aspects of identity contribute and enrich our school community. Number 4, self-reflection and exploration. We teach individuals to question their cultural viewpoints and assumptions and to modify them when appropriate. We are committed to exploring the shape of Fenton's unique school culture to better understand the experiences of students and adults from diverse backgrounds, as well as to challenges our own practices. Number 5, meaningful interaction and dialogue. We challenge every individual to interact meaningfully with their entire school community and to learn from one another, honoring our differences while embracing shared values. We provide a safe environment and infuse the skills of social emotional learning, SEL, that encourages expression of our differences in ways that invite dialogue and education rather than cause alienation. We encourage curiosity and inquiry so that we can learn from a diverse range of experiences and points of view. Number 6, service and community involvement. We use the above practice to instill a consciousness of justice, an ethic of citizenship, and a commitment to service. We teach and practice responsibility towards the engagement in our school, our larger community, and interconnected world. Therefore, be it resolved that Fenton District 100 Board of Education denounces racism, bigotry, or disrespect of any member of our community. That is draft 1. I will read draft 2. Title is Resolution Affirming the Fenton Board of Education Commitments to Equity and Unity. The Fenton District 100 of Education is committed to provide a safe environment and maintain equity for all students, staff, and visitors, as we continue to strive to cultivate successful, passionate learning through rigor, relevance, and relationship. Diversity, inclusion, equity, and access have been key elements of Fenn's missions and core values as we seek to build community. We are committed to providing the best education in school made up of students, faculty, staff, and families drawn from many different socioeconomic backgrounds, culture, races, physical or mental disability, religions, and sexual orientations. We believe that Fenton has a larger public purpose to also matriculate, educate, and graduate students who have been historically underrepresented. We embrace diversity, and we believe in our unity, in our diverse empowers us as a learning community, respecting diverse backgrounds, advocating for oneself and others by being a voice for justice, collaborating with others, creating a sense of harmony within our interconnected world, challenging each other to be the best version of themselves. Fenton High School's Board of Education reaffirms its commitment to core principles of our mission's adopted belief statement, Bison Way and Portrait of a Graduate, as well as the policies advocating respect for each student and staff members. Bullet point 1, Fenton District 100 encourages innovative teaching and engagement through ongoing educational opportunities and professional development for our staff, thus allowing for adaptation of the curriculum program's service to ensure an equitable learning environment as part of its ongoing equity and unity work. Fenton is committed to providing every student an equal opportunity to participate and thrive in the academic and co-curricular programs. Bullet number 2. Fenton strives to empower, strengthen, and unify its diverse community through outreach to the community to help build bridges, improve communication between students, parents, and educators, and community parents, and encourage effective collaboration of school and home environments. Bullet point number 3. Fenton provides a safe, secure, and caring environment where all stakeholders and visitors are treated with respect fostering an inclusive educational environment where each student and staff members is afforded a respectable and supporting learning environment. We affirm the uniqueness of each individual and value individuals' way of existing in the world. We are committed to understanding how personal, cultural, and historical aspects of identity contribute to and enrich our school community. Bullet point number 4, we believe that diversity empowers our learning community. We teach individuals to question their cultural viewpoints and assumptions and to modify them when appropriate. We are committed to exploring the shape of Fenton's unique school culture to better understand the experience of students and adults from diverse backgrounds, as well as to challenge our own practices. Bullet point number 5, Fenton infuses skills of social emotional learning, SEL, into all aspects of academic, extracurricular activities, and Fenton culture to improve community skills and self-awareness. We encourage every individual to interact meaningfully with the entire school community and to learn from one another, honoring our differences while embracing the shared values. We provide a safe environment that encourages expression of our differences in ways that invite dialogue and education rather than cause alienation. We encourage curiosity and inquire so that we can learn from a diverse range of experience and viewpoints. Bullet point number 6, we use the above practice to instill a consciousness of justice, an ethic of citizenship and civic responsibility, and a commitment to service. We teach and practice responsibility towards engagement in our school, our larger community, and interconnected world. Therefore, be it resolved that Fenton District 100 Board of Education affirms that through these practices, policies, and beliefs, Fenton High School fosters an inclusive, safe environment where each student and staff member is treated with dignity and denounces racism, bigotry, or disrespect of any member of our community.
Okay, thank you, James. Thank you for that reading. So based on these two drafts, could I see a hands, could I see a hands for draft number 1, the first one that James read? Okay, I see 2. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I just want to make a statement real quick before we
I think
do
I
all this.
agree too.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to make a statement, since I missed that last meeting. I'd like to make a statement before we vote.
Before we, okay, but we're voting already. Go ahead, make a statement.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Well, first, I wish to acknowledge James and the administration for the work of continuing advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in our community and learning. So I understand that it is already built into our policies, not only at Fenton here, but our feeder schools. Also, I wanted to make sure I give gratitude and thanks to each of the people that exercise their democratic right to voice their thoughts and opinions. I encourage you guys and others to do the same and stay engaged in our local government, state and federal as well. Creating a community and society that's more socially responsible, socially fair. These are the American ideals that engage citizens voting and driving change that's reflective of who we are and who we choose as leaders. And so that takes votes. And to my fellow board members, listen, I appreciate each of you for devoting your time and talent to Fenton. My sincere message to each of you, though, this is not just about the revolution. This is about, I think, us as leaders listening, reflecting, and also taking ownership of how we are either part of the problem or part of advancing that cause. And that includes me. Really what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. What does it mean to you? And what does it mean to me? And what does it mean to our students? Okay. This is the question that's answered best by yourselves, me and you, with our personal experiences. And I can speak from my own personal experience because growing up, I have been subject to discrimination and bias and those things. In fact, with the rhetoric we have today, I am also subject of that, being Asian with COVID and the rhetoric of the Chinese virus, even though I'm not Chinese. Now, let me just say something. When there is a lack of experience, when there's a lack of experience where you don't experience yourself the discrimination, you have to draw upon your empathy. You have to understand and get in people's shoes and understand what they're experiencing. That is the responsibility of our board. When we hear these students go through their discriminations and situations they do, we need to, again, listen and reflect. Okay? The fact that we identify in our statement their individual differences, when we say that, it means that we acknowledge that, we empathize with that, and we acknowledge that. And it's important. It means something. Maybe not to you who don't experience it, but in empathy, we realize that that's happening. We acknowledge that. When we gloss over it and say all lives matter, that's glossing over all those experiences that other people might be feeling. So I'm asking you to be empathetic in this situation. Thanks for letting me talk.
Okay, thank you, Kit. Could I see a hands then for draft number 2? Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Leo, is your hand up?
No, I vote for the first resolution.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we had 3 for the first, draft number 1, and 4 for draft number 2. May I have a motion and a second that the Board of Education approve draft number 2 as Fenton's resolution affirming our commitment to equity and diversity?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. May I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Roll call, please. Mary?
Peyton Howell,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Ting Po Pong,
No.
Jalowick,
Yes.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Rego,
No.
Wiedemann,
Yes. Okay, the motion has passed. Now we move on to committee reports. First one, Bensonville Community Foundation, Juliet and Kit. Is there anything new with the foundation?
Yeah, so we did have a meeting on August 13th, I believe, there. And me and Juliet were both present to represent the district. The couple things that the board wanted to mention, the Bensonville Foundation, is that so we're going through just some audits of where different grants will go, and the question came up on, do we still need to award or open up the funds to the booster fundraiser account, and what's the role also to the AP test fee? How does that play a role, and do we still offer grants for the AP testing for this year?
Kit, if I may, I would advocate yes for the AP testing. I do not have that numbers, as you know, at this current moment. AP testing is April, but if you could advocate for Fenton, we would appreciate that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, James.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kit. Finance Facilities Committee, there's no new news on that. That is all on hold right now. Unless, Mary Ann, do you have anything other than that?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. The IASB delegate, nothing new. There's nothing going on right there. Len, Leo, and James.
I have to report, Leo. There was no meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. NetSec,
We were there, but our meeting was canceled. So we were in the middle of the storm.
oh, okay, all right. All right, thank you. Yeah. Policy Committee, Kit or Patty?
We don't have anything until next month. We have a policy committee meeting in September.
Right. Okay, good. All right.
Just to add in with the policy committee on September 30th, it starts at 6 p.m. All board members received the 18 new policies to review from press. Let me know if you didn't receive that. I could definitely resend it to you. We're going to have our same protocol where our Dr. Benson and Mary Timmons will give you a T-chart and to go over it thoroughly. But please take a look at it. I gave you an abbreviated version, a quick summary of it.
Okay. And Jackie, I know at the last meeting you expressed interest in attending the virtual meeting on schools opening. I don't know if you did attend or if you care to, if you picked up any information or care to say anything? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Jackie, you're on mute.
Sorry, Paul. I was not able to get on the meeting.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for joining. I think what we'll try to do is still, James, I know we still get notifications on these virtual meetings. And I know they're still going out. I would just encourage anyone, if you have time, to attend any one of these meetings. They have some useful information. And I'm sure right now the subject, the hot topic is remote versus hybrid, among other things. So with that, the next board meeting is going to be next Wednesday, September 30th. And yeah, new business will be the policy committee meeting right before that meeting at 6 p.m. And don't forget, we have the board retreat on equity on the 23rd. Yeah, on September 23rd. We'll be sending out information on that.
Before we adjourn, Paul, could I have a minute to respond to the, I not necessarily the public comment, but to the resolution, the development of the resolution?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. One of the comments that came up from one of our stockholders was that someone questioned the purpose of the resolution, and that was myself. And I questioned it because I wanted to make sure that what the purpose of the resolution was. And the reason I did that is because we do have all these programs and policies in place, and our mission statement, our Bison Way, they all state how we treat the individuals in our community. Hopefully, ideally, treat the individuals in our community. And I think it was the reason I brought that question up is because we have the responsibility to be concise in our wording and what we're trying to come across. Yes, I felt we needed to reaffirm what we are already doing in our community. We are an extremely diverse community. As you saw the numbers, 64% are Latino, 72% of color. That leaves 38% are white or without color. Our resolution needed to reaffirm what we are doing, although it's not perfect, by any means, and there is certainly a long way to go as in our nation. But I think that reinstating or reaffirming and reawakening what we are already doing to make a positive environment in our school. I think we only stumbled going over all these resolutions. We had 4 or 5 resolutions last month, and we stumbled because we wanted to be accurate. And to go over all of those at that time was kind of difficult. And so I understand the frustration of the public, and I want to affirm that we acknowledge that, but we needed to be more concise in what we were trying to come across. And I apologize to Omar that if she had, or no, Omar had the problems with the hall monitor. But I think if a student is having problems with being picked on, or if they're I have a hard time with my words tonight again. If they're not being valued for who they are, and they go to an adult and that situation is not satisfied, I encourage them to go to yet another adult until that situation is clarified. And we have gone through so many changes through this country. I just hope that we have we continue to dialogue, and we continue to learn from each other. People who have had disabilities have had to overcome many roadblocks, as people who have had, or of color who have had many roadblocks have overcome those as well. And we will continue to fight that. And I just, we need to learn from each other, but we need to have a dialogue about it and not just lash out at each other. And so I hope that this resolution will help to clarify what Fenton really stands for. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Patty, for those words and clarification. Thanks again for your assistance and Juliet's assistance in this endeavor. I know it was a lot of hard work, and we really appreciate everything you put into it, as well as everyone else in their participation. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, good night, and may I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Kid. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Who's that, Jack?
Leo.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, roll call, please.
Peyton Ho.
Yes.
Ting Po Fong.
Yes.
Galloway. Jallowick.
Yes.
Figueroa.
Yes.
Rego.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Wiedemann.
Yes. Okay, thank you, and good night, everyone, and just let me know any questions, and stay safe.
You too. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night. All right. Good night.